the cross-Saharan pipeline to bring our gas to Europe and compete with Russia, compete better, generate the necessary revenue. I stand before you proudly, noting that those who are afraid of the budget, they were talk of borrowing, it's borrowing.
Our presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his teammate, in conjunction with the party, has developed a detailed manifesto that clearly spells out his roadmap for taking Nigeria to greater heights and impacting the lives of the people. Therefore, while others spend their valuable time addressing personalities and other frivolities during the campaigns, we shall, with the mission and vision of our candidate and our great party, encapsulate in a manifesto towards delivering the dividends of democracy to Nigerians.
Okay, I don't know who here has had the opportunity to take a look at that manifesto. It's titled Renewed Hope 2023, 80 pages long. And what do you think? Professor Kila, it looks like you have read it. You have read it.
I have read it.
What do you think?
Well, first of all, let me assure Nigerians that it is 80 pages, but you shouldn't be afraid to read it. You know, it's because the fonts are big and lots of images. It's not a lengthy document. It's an easy read. So really, anybody who's educated and the viewers of this program have no reason not to read it. So that said, I think one thing needs to be stated that overall, really, and this is a very scientific analytic consideration here, that the manifesto really, it has more of qualitative import than quantitative import. Because in reality, it's less than 10% of voters that are affected by the manifesto. If you think about the number of people that actually read it, maybe for the first time, let's hope millions of people actually read the manifesto. Generally speaking, it is less than 10% of people who are moved by manifesto. The people that are moved by manifestos are those you call the rational, reasonable, independent, functional voters who really look at the program and say, this is why. About 70% to 75% of voters will vote for the candidate anyway, or will vote for the party anyway, regardless of what. They just go by emotions. Then you have another about 10 to 25% who vote against. They will vote against somebody if the other side can make a strong case. I think in this case, the manifesto is good, but there are two problems with the manifesto that the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed has, Tinubu has put forward for the APC. The first problem is that it talks as if it's going to create something new or correct the errors of the present administration, where then stands on a contradiction saying that it's going to continue on where it stopped. So there's that contradiction there to say, you appear to want to correct the error, but then you are continuing it. That's going to be something that will be used against the manifesto. The other thing, I think the other problem that the manifesto is going to have for the kind of readers it is meant for, people who reason, people who rationalize, and people who are functional about their thinking, is that they're going to wonder that because the candidate, the presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his deputy, Shetima, are not new people, they're not passerbys, they're people who are in the system, part of the administration, they're going to be wondering, where were they when things were going wrong? You know, is it that they did not see it, or they agree with it, or they wanted it to fail so that they can come and shine? So those are the kind of problem, because there is no radical shift from what we have at the moment. As a matter of fact, the manifesto, for those of us who are addicts of reading manifestos, reminds a lot of Hope 93, and it reminds a lot of 2015 APC. There's nothing wrong in them. It is just that it is not a radical shift. You know, one was expecting some big things. I think the writers of that manifestos have done a good job of writing a letter, but they've not actually come up with radical ideas that, you know, that will set the world on fire. We've not seen something like saying we're going to create X amount of jobs in X period of time. You know, we've not seen big things. The big manifestos in the history of Nigeria are the ones of the UPN in 79, where you had cardinal points. Free education, free health. It was, you know, easy to catch on like that. Then you had 93, which was a good manifesto. Then you had 2015, which was a manifesto that talked about change. So in this case, we're talking of renewed hope, which is not change. You know, what happened to the hope we had before? We want to renew it because something is not going well. And to add to the sort of problem this campaign is likely to have with rational voters is that it was launched by a president that claims things are going well. And the candidates are running on the mantra of things are going well, they're going to be better. So I think overall we have continuity, and the opposition party, all parties, will have to show no, we want to discontinue. So in a way it exposes, I believe, the candidacy of Asiwaju Tinubu to this kind of criticism. But you know, but overall, you know, it's a good paper, but it's when you the problem is when you put in the context. If it was written for a candidate, say Professor Akintadewa, who has not run for president before, it would be a new person coming to say, I want to change the system. But when you put in the context, you know that the person running is somebody who was a leader of the ruling party, part of it, you start to think, okay, where were you when we were going this way? Were you for it? Were you against it? If you were against it, what have you said? You know, when they were not doing enough, did you raise up your hand to say, guys, this is not the agreement we had in 2015?